Hi, hello, good evening, and good day. We are here with the final recap for Big Brother Australia after we crowned our winners yesterday. The Savage Sisters, as we like to call them, Tay and Ari. So, congratulations to them. Fault on you if you didn't catch our exit interview with them already. That's up on our YouTube channel, and it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to receive yours. But we have lots to say about the other people, the people who didn't win. Certainly things to be said there. So let's hop into it. I am Kyle Petty Phillips, standing my robbed King Louis. And I am joined, as always, by my festy besties, John Dunphy Drake, obviously showing his support for the late Annalise, and Gina Morgino Sinclair, showing her support for Miss Gracie May. And this is Strat Chat. You can find us on all the socials at Strat Chat Pod, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those good things. Okay. So lots since the last time we all chatted, right? We still had a lot of people in the game. And I was saying to Gina before, like, it's a little hard to remember because you do these exit interviews, you kind of forget like where you are.
Yeah.
But I think Monday we kind of opened this thing up with the Dion, Lewis, and Josh on the block, right? That eviction.
Monet on the warpath.
Yes, because Monet is back from the half house. And she has had enough with the men and their shenanigans. And she says, no more, no more. We have to make a change, which I did agree with. Since we're on Monet, instead of going in this whole like chronological order, I think it's super fun to just kind of dive into Monet and her arc.
Sure.
Because I definitely have not been a huge fan of Monet, right? The way that she was handling a lot of her relationship with Louis and that whole Bella thing, it's just too much. Those punishment pants are a punishment for us too. But when she came into that she came back from the half house, her game like got turned up like way past 10, right? She was
different person.
Exactly. And I think it made me like Monet so much more. I think that we were really confused and muddled with this whole dating concept. And I would love to see Monet in a different Big Brother environment. She's actually just playing the game for what the game is. Because I think she got a little distracted by some of that other stuff because the way she strategized and she understood the relationships between people, it showed that she was really listening and watching a lot during the season, which is something we didn't get to see because we were so wrapped up in the Bella stuff. What did you think about Monet's endgame at this point?
I mean, from a standpoint...
Oh, sorry. No, that's all right. You go ahead.
I was going to say, like, if we're just talking about, like, Monet herself, I think that she could not have had a better comeback, you know? Like, she knew exactly what needed to be done, pulled no punches about it, and was like, all right, well, this is the game, and this is what I have to do, and this is who I have to take out, and that's how it's going to happen. My issue with this is more... And again, you've watched more of Australia than I have. This is the only season that I've seen, so I don't know if it's always formatted this way. I don't know if I vibe with the end game format allowing her to have as much power as she was able to have in the end of the game. Because, like, we see, I understand that, like, the house nominations stop at some point. But even when it wasn't a house nomination, there were two people making the decisions of who was going up. So the fact that she had the sole power 2 times in a row to put up who was going, like, to nominate who was going up. And then, there was a tie that she was the tiebreaker for. Like, it put a lot of power into her hands. And I don't know if I vibe with that format.
Oh, I feel like she earned it, though, by winning those competitions.
Yes, but my point is, like, I don't know if anyone should be able to
Allowed
win that much in a
to
row.
win
Yeah,
that
like,
much.
yeah.
You should have been,
I loved
in
it
America, you would
her...
have been ineligible after a win like that. Having that much power means that now you have the least next
and
week.
I loved that it gave her that I loved that it gave her that like redemption arc and that she was able to come back in with like a fire under her and get everything done that she needed to get done. But even when, you know, there was a possibility that people could win 2 times in a row or whatever, like outside of the House nominations, it was still 2 people winning. So it wasn't just like, I'm going to get whatever I want. We have to work together to get what we both want, not just one person having all the power. You know what I mean?
I think it depended on the competition, though, because like when Luke way back in the season 1, he came in the house and won a competition, and he was the only one making any nominations. I know that was very early, but like it wasn't always like 2 people. Like, sometimes it was 3 people. You know, obviously Ari and Tay were playing as one person, but like there were 3 people in that room making decisions when they and Josh, you know, decided to nominate 3 women and stuff like that. Like sometimes you had 1 person, sometimes you had 2 people, sometimes you had 3 people. At the late stage in the game, they had competitions where it was just 1 person because you couldn't pair people up.
I think it was just the back to back of it all that bothered me, because at least we had House nominations to break it up previously.
Yeah.
You know?
That's super interesting. I really didn't like think about that. I think I agree with both of you, just differently. Because I think it also makes a difference to the fact that you had that level of power at the end of the game. I think it's different if you give it to somebody in the beginning than if it is when you're getting down from like, what did they go from? Like 7 to 5 and then to 4?
Yes,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
And
Something like that.
a lot of power to have that late. You started at 16, and I guess it was 18. You have all these intruders, like you know. So
Yeah,
kind of
So I guess
already evicted too.
Right.
yeah.
I guess it didn't bother me though, because I think one of the big complaints that we have, especially in this most recent season of Big Brother US, is like, are these competitions equitable? You know, like we always felt like we knew going in that this person's going to win or this person's going to win. That's it. Where I felt like with these competitions, anybody could have won these, and Monet did it. So, like,
Right.
I really
We're
don't
not
have a problem
playing
with it,
carnival
honestly.
games. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Huh. Yeah, you know, I mean, because Gina brings it up is why I'm kind of saying, oh no, I don't like that. But like, I didn't have a thought about it when I was watching it, and I wonder why that is. And I'm usually the first one to point out an injustice, call foul, you know.
Yeah.
That's
I just feel like,
so
you know,
interesting.
yeah. I just feel like our last season, this wasn't like BBUS, like it was Jag and Matt trying to beat 2 women in their 60s, whereas this was a much more, you know, Big Brother Australia. You know, this season everybody had a fair shot, I think, and Monet managed to overcome a lot, come back in the house, and win both competitions at the most crucial time that she needed to. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
It's interesting. I could stand on either side of the argument. It depends on who I want to make a case for. Huh. Okay. I can't add anymore, so I guess I got to move on. But like, yeah, that's a fun conversation. Oh, I love that. I wish I had more. But Monet's doing is what was Dion's undoing. Unfortunately, you know, we saw Dion leave here. And then because of the double twist, was Lewis first? No, it was Dion first.
No, it was Dion first. Well, no, actually, we don't.
Dion
actually
and Lewis
know.
were both, yeah,
they were at the same time, but
who
we
was
don't
part
know
of the double reveal.
So all that we heard from Sonia was one of you received 1 vote, and it was Josh, so he was safe. And then Sonia told us one of you received 3 votes and the other received 2, but it doesn't matter because it's a double eviction.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm assuming that it was Dion that got the 3rd vote, but we weren't told that.
Should have gone back, you know, because you know if you go to 7+, you can watch the extended video. You can see how people's votes went. Really should have done that. Shucks. Because that would actually just be just a little interesting to kind of know who was first, who was the intended person.
I also assumed it was Dion.
I did assume too. But based on what? You know, I don't know why. I don't know why I think that, but that is kind of what I thought. Maybe because Louis was really the one pulling a lot of the strings here too. So even though Monet was in power and kind of made this happen, there's definitely Louis' influence here that kind of like steered a lot of this. And you know, he was certainly wanting Dion to go. So I would believe he probably did cop the most. What did you think about what we found out after the fact? You know, because one of the things that we had discussed in some of our exit interviews was how it always seemed like Dion was making a lot of moves to kind of help Taylor's game. And then we saw Taylor essentially like burn a vote on Josh. And then we kind of found out and then unfound out that Lewis and Taylor had like a relation, like or some kind of a friendship there. Like that was an interesting thing. Like both conversations were kind of cool. But what did you think of that? Did you even have a thought when that was going on?
Well, after we talked to Lewis, my initial thought was, all right, so Taylor didn't want to vote for either one of them, and that's why she voted for Josh. But then when we spoke to Taylor, she said, no, I voted for Josh because I really wanted to get Josh out and break up a couple. Right. So it's interesting. Like I think I was more surprised to find out that she just voted for Josh because she wanted to break up a couple. I would.
Yeah, you have to know that you're not going to have the numbers to do that.
Right.
Like,
I was like disappointed to hear that. I was like, oh, you thought you were doing something. It's so cute.
Right.
It almost kind of shows that maybe she was just a little bit more out of touch with the social structure there than like maybe she thought.
Right. Well, I wonder.
Like, got a bad read, like because that we knew as even just viewers that was never going to happen.
Right.
It's not like we have feeds or anything.
For all we know, she could have been. She could have been. You know,
lied to.
People could have been leaving her out of the loop. Sure. Because I mean, how many times did we see the women talk about, you know, and this is before a lot of them left, but talking about, you know, trying to have like a women's alliance sort of thing. And then immediately, you know, Gracie May and Monet leave on the same night. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, like, and then even Tay and Ari talking about how, you know, I know that Josh was a part of the nomination process, but, you know, they still had a say in it, and 3 women ended up going up. And immediately after, Tay and Ari said, we really regret, you know, putting up 3 women. We should have pushed back harder on Josh. And it was like, so I feel like it's tricky. Maybe Taylor was being told, like, oh, yeah, we're going to try this women's alliance. And we really like Dion because the sisters are close to him, and Gracie May loves him, and this person loves him. And then you know, all of a sudden, she's thinking, all right, well, if I vote on Josh, maybe my vote could be the deciding vote to get Josh out or something. You know, maybe what she was being told led her to believe that. I don't know.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All fair. But yeah, Dion and Lewis out of here. That was the end of that. Then the next night, Josh went, but like, why? What was it? Is that when Monet won the last gasp?
Your last gasp.
No. Oh, yes.
I don't know what else to call it, you know, because this was very Survivor feeling.
Yeah, it was the last gasp with keys. And I remember like
and not in the ocean, but in a pool.
They were explaining the rules of this competition, and I was like, this is the one that stresses me out.
This was scary.
This was scarier to me though because of the locks.
Yeah.
Right.
It didn't feel like you had an option to get out. Like that is what was like scary about this one. Like at least last gasp, it's like, okay, well, you know, I've had enough.
You tap out whenever you want. Yeah.
I'm done. Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah. You imagine like
I don't want to play anymore. Glog, glog, glog.
I would panic. Like I'm sure, you know, obviously everybody's fine. Like they're not gonna let anything happen to anyone.
Right.
But like this is the type of thing that like if Big Brother was like, whoever wins this competition wins my game because you'll all be dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, listen, I would be terrified of this.
That's the thing. What if my locks malfunction? What if something else goes wrong and you can't get me out of here? Like this is not.
And
I'm
even
not
watching
in
it, like
here.
I don't think I fully understood the rules at first because I saw like, you know, they have like this stack of keys, and I think it was Louis had them like all on his chest, and I was like, oh, perfect. He has them all right there, like perfect. And they're just dropping keys all over the place, and I'm like, oh, so like yeah, he has his stack right here. But they all might not unlock anything. So you gotta like reach over back and like find the keys everywhere else. I'm like, oh, worse, so much worse.
Nightmare. Total nightmare.
Yeah, Big Brother Australia loves their keys, by the way. What was was it Gabby and Alicia that had that crazy like key thing? It was like thousands of keys, and they had to find like they thought they had to find one key to open something. They actually found it and opened it, and then there was another lock inside.
And they just kept like dropping keys on them or something like that. Yes.
Right.
They just love just fucking with people. I love it. I love it.
I love to watch it. I would not like
Yes.
to be the one playing. I would freak out.
I like the randomness that it like almost promotes, but the thing is, like, you know, Monet and her power wins here. Like, what if all of her keys are just like good keys? Like,
Shenanigans?
I mean, there's no way to prove. You can't. Who could say?
Right.
Maybe the keys that fell for her. Maybe there's like 5 or 6 that work for each lock, so it's easier to find more. Who knows? We don't know. I know keys you dropping in there. Anybody checked? Who verified these keys? Who verified these locks? Where is the third party information? You know, anything could be. Yeah, I just like to do that. I just like to challenge. But yeah, so Monet won, and then she put up basically what? Everyone.
Who was it? Josh. Yeah,
everyone but Louis.
Everyone but Louis.
I was like, who is left?
Everybody get up there. And I also get like tripped out. They're like, we are down to our final 3. And there's like 4 people walking down the hall. And
I know.
That was definitely tripped me out too. But yeah, that was where we saw Josh leave. It was sad, but like you kind of knew that was where it was going to go. But it was Louis that had that vote that kind of made that deciding vote, wasn't it?
Right.
Well, Monet was a tiebreaker, wasn't she? Or was that?
I think she would have been a tiebreaker.
She would have been, but I don't know that
if Louis' vote,
at that point, right?
Right. I don't remember. Because I still remember. I think it was Monet saying to Taylor, like, "Oh, if Louis doesn't vote, Josh out, I will make sure he doesn't make it to top 3." So I could just imagine, like, okay, what's the benefit of Louis not voting for Josh? So Josh goes home anyway because Monet's the tiebreaker, and then now you have her pissed and targeting you.
Josh got 2 and Taylor got 2, so Monet was the tiebreaker.
Oh wait, no, that's right. Louis needed to vote for Josh in order for Monet to be the tiebreaker. That is what it was. That is what it was. Gina, you're right.
I got notes.
Yeah. Way to go. You're right. Gina, Gino, Sinclair. But the situation is still being the same because it would have been a rough road back if we hadn't done that.
Right.
Yeah. So there's that. So goodbye, Josh. Thank you for your time. Who we'll make a public apology to. It was your fault that you couldn't figure out the restream, right?
Oh no.
Yes, because we did have a conversation with Josh, and none of it was recorded because he was on holiday at the New Zealand.
At the
New Zealand, and like couldn't use our restream thing. So then we got Zoom in a quick, fast, and in a hurry. We used it. We had a wonderful conversation.
It was so good.
It was so good, and I will also add that like it is no wonder like he made it so far in this game. I mean, like his personality is absolutely wonderful, so warm and genuine.
Yeah.
Couldn't say enough like good things about Josh, but unfortunately that conversation was not recorded because we don't know what we're doing.
It was a conversation just for us.
Yeah. A very intimate conversation.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. So Josh, if you ever hear this, like come swing on by.
Please come back, please.
Yeah. We want everyone else to see why we love you so much. So there's that. So many lamentations to our friend Josh. But all right, so that brought us to our final 4, right? Taylor, Monet, Louis, and the sisters. I don't remember much about what happened at this point.
Well, Louis won the next competition.
What was this one?
This was
Oh my gosh, that was that really, really been crazy one. That was when you had the puzzle. And you had to do like the 3 numbers. And
the number puzzle.
Yes. And then unlock first you had the... When did the sand tunnel thing happen? After the puzzle?
I think that was before... Wait.
This was a 4.
Oh, yeah. I think they had to like twist that pole around. It was like a little maze type of
Oh yeah,
thing.
get
Then
that
I think
ball out.
get the ball. Then they had to go through the tunnel. I think. Then I think it was the number puzzle
Yes,
to
and then
get
the number
to get
puzzle
yeah,
gives you
because
those
that would open the
combinations.
barrels.
Yes, the
Yeah,
locks
to
of the
get the other
barrels
balls.
to get the to get the other
And then
5
you would use
balls.
those. Yeah, you would use those on that
Perfect.
board.
Whoa, so many
Ugh.
steps, very survivory.
The whole end game was giving Survivor.
Yes, and people kept. I was seeing some of the people that I follow, like in Australia, that are like tweeting about this actively. They're like, "Oh, I'm not down for this Survivor in a basement," and it's like, excuse me, that is exactly what it is. But I love it. What? I just feel
Right.
like it makes
It was
it makes everything.
interesting.
Yes, it makes things equitable. Everyone is up against the same challenges. You're also all able-bodied. Like I thought it was awesome. It's very fun to watch. So. Sorry, that might be a hot take, but I'll stay steaming. So Louis wins this one, and everyone goes on the block, right? That was it. Everybody was just
Yeah. Yep.
So Taylor leaves. Does Louis' arc change if Monet left?
I'm gonna be so honest. I think Taylor leaving was absolutely the best option because when you think about it, like this is so different than in Our Big Brother, where it's like, a jury is voting for their peers. So you have to be very careful about who you burn and how you burn them and the way that it goes, because the people that you're in the game with are the people who are responsible for deciding whether you win or you lose. In this situation, where the viewership is voting for the winner, you see somebody with Taylor's story and she has her son, and you've met her son multiple times over the course of this season, and you're so endeared towards her and her story. That is the person you have to cut, because that is the person that the general public, is going to want to vote for. So I think if he doesn't cut Taylor, that is a clear loss.
I don't disagree with you, but I also think that it also is damaging to be the one to cut the single mom after we've made such a connection with her,
Sure.
or her child. I kind of think that Louis was in a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of a situation.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't think there was a correct decision here. Because I think either way is a path to losing.
Yeah.
I would have been very interested to see a Taylor, Louis, and Savage Sisters final 3. Because while I do think that Taylor would have a shot to win, I've been seeing a lot on social media that like Tay and Ari apparently have a much bigger social media following than anybody else, and people saying that that's where a lot of their votes come from. So honestly, if it's Taylor in there instead of Monet, I'm not so sure we get a different winner anyway, if I'm being honest.
I saw a lot of people saying too that like because there were 2 of them and they each presumably would have like their own circle, that like you're technically taking like the audience of 2 people and putting them into one person. There was a lot
I
of
think
discourse.
that's also fair.
So
yeah. Was I hadn't thought of either, because in the entire game, they didn't necessarily have any more agency than anyone else. But
I almost wonder if Louis cutting the sisters like would have been his game-winning move,
I don't know. In America, this is a completely different conversation.
Totally different,
right? Because America respects things so differently. I think that Louis would have just won. It wouldn't matter who he cut. Like at that point, like he just would have won the game anyway.
But again, it's the jury piece to it too, as opposed to just an audience of the public.
Right, but I still think the audience in America would still have voted for him because he played the game.
Right.
Because I don't think we're as nice as Australians. Like, they really endeared towards people, and just good, warm, genuine people. I think is very sweet, and but the savagery that is necessary to win this game, like that strategic thing, is not really what they seem to enjoy. At least in Big Brother, they like it in Survivor, which is an interesting contrast. Now that
right. Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
literally, they
never thought about that until just this moment.
Right? No, you're so right. Like literally, they call him King George. They call him
Yes.
King George.
Yes, they do,
You're a
and
king-
they
you're a-
love him. They love
Mhm.
him, and he is an absolute savage. But you do that kind of stuff in Big Brother. Ah, I want this
Yeah.
person. Ah, what are you doing? What
Yeah.
are you doing? That's not nice. And it's like, what did George do that was ever nice?
Right.
You
Honestly,
know,
I would
like,
love to see George play Big Brother. George
Oh,
would
you
be
want
on
to
the
talk
next
about
Big Brother
savage? My
Australia.
gosh.
he would win, but he would get ripped to shreds on social media.
Right,
Like, I
right.
don't know. Big Brother Australia does not like that stuff.
I love George.
I love George too. You saw he met Owen?
Oh yes,
And
yes, I
Yeah.
did.
at the rap thing.
Yes. Was that New Orleans? Is that where that's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about these people like, oh, on first name basis. You saw him at Ellen? And everybody's like,
He's like,
yes.
"Oh, the pod."
There was no question. No, it's just so funny the way that we talk about these people. Like we know them. First names. Not
He's hung out
season
with us
number. Oh, from
before.
what season? No. We all know exactly who everybody's
Well,
talking about.
I'm not gonna call Owen, Mr. Knight. I'm just gonna
Well, I
call him
wouldn't
Owen.
say Mr. Knight. I'm like, do you remember Owen from like season blah blah blah, like something like that? That's
Anybody
what I
who's
mean.
been on the podcast on a first name basis with us, as far as I'm concerned.
I just feel like we're also putting on the same plane. Like when I tell you that, like, my favorite singer is Janet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's no
course.
question, right? If I say, Britney, I just love Britney. You know exactly who I'm talking about. And like, it's just so funny that these people have also gotten to that status. That's all.
Right.
It's just a compare and contrast. That's all. The first names.
It's very funny.
But yeah, so I think that's an interesting thing. I don't know. But I guess also, I mean, no, but see, George is celebrated in Survivor, even though it's not the public that's deciding who wins that is still jury based. Like he doesn't have like a bad anything. Like people love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, so I think Louis was fucked one way or the other.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think that Louis, because that's the thing. We talked about Monet kind of having an arc, but it felt like her game really only turned on when she came back in. And part of me wishes that we got to see her and Gracie May both come in with this plan. That would have been nice. But Louis is the only one, not just in the top three, but the whole cast that I felt like was really playing this game from start to finish, like actually
Right.
playing the game as we know it anyway.
Right.
So I agree. I think he got robbed.
You did. My Rob King.
I'd love to see the vote tally, like the actual official vote tally, like see how close.
Yeah, like
it was.
percentages and things. Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to see where people landed. That really would tell us a lot about how Australia sees this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else is there? I mean, Tay and Ari won. Deserved?
Yeah.
Oof.
Wow.
No, no. Listen. Well, we just got done saying that we thought Louis got robbed. So if we're gonna say if we're gonna say whether or not we think Tay and Ari deserved it, I'm not gonna be able to just say yes.
But I mean, to be
You're
fair,
absolutely right. What an unfair question.
but no, to be fair, like if we're really gonna like unpack it, they insulated themselves really, really well in the social structure of the house because
They did.
granted, they had the advantage of there being two of them, but they were able to each align themselves with another person, which made them technically, while it was a group of three, a group of four. It was kind of like a solid wall of people of like, all
Right.
right, well, if we're all on the same page, they kind of control, where things are going.
Right. They may only have one vote. But again, like even like I think we discussed this with them yesterday. Like the other issue is like even if like listen, I don't really like Ari, but I love Tay, so like I'm not going to vote for them, and vice
Right.
versa. Like I just chose names, but like it is an interesting thing because while you don't have more power, you definitely have a different level of influence.
And they were even saying too, like they were both aligned with different sides of the house, where Ari was more aligned with the women, and then Tay was more aligned with the men. So like it did insulate them really, really well because they had people on both sides. To your
Right.
point of like, as long as you're aligned with one of them,
You're fine.
you're aligned with both of them.
Exactly, and you don't need an extra vote when no one's voting for you.
Which also, to their point, like or maybe they did. I don't like that. They didn't win a ton of competitions, but I think it was to their credit that they didn't, because then they never had to really fully show their cards unless they were voting or doing a house nomination.
Right. They didn't really make themselves targets.
Yeah, there's at least 2 that I can think of that they won, but
I'm
I
thinking of the
don't
one
think
with
they won
Josh. I
more
don't
than
remember
that.
if there was another
They
one.
won one with Josh, and then there was one. I don't remember if it was Ari or Tay. There was one where they all had to sit up and hold that thing up and hold their legs up, and then if they
Ooh.
dropped it all,
Oh,
the water would come down.
yeah.
I don't remember which
they were
one
like,
it
"No,
was.
Bella cannot win this." I think that was probably, wasn't that Ari?
I think it was Ari.
I
Because
think
Ari
so.
had enough of Bella's shenanigans.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, there are people in there that didn't win anything. They managed to win multiple. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I definitely think they played a good game. Obviously, they made it to the top 3. But
Right.
if we're talking like deserve to win or not deserve to win, I feel like we all feel like Louis was the one that deserved to win. So I don't know if I can say 100% for sure that they deserve to win. But
Right.
congratulations to them. They did it. So whatever.
Damn.
Congratulations to them. They did it. So whatever. No, I
You
mean,
want
I
to talk
still,
about savage?
How's
still
that
say
savage? I said congratulations. They
Yeah.
won.
I guess I still say that anyone who actually wins the game still deserved it, right? Because
Right.
like that's what the game is. Like there wasn't
And there are
any
different
tomfoolery.
paths to the end, you know, like we might have preferred one path to another, but
Right. And
they were
that's a
voted
good
by
that's
a jury of the country, you know?
exactly that's a better way of putting it. Yeah. There are different paths, and like we prefer a different kind of game, but that doesn't mean they played a bad one.
Right.
Right. Because I saw some of the negative comments we were getting on YouTube.
My
Very
goodness.
nasty. Like they definitely
Yeah.
did have certain advantages that kind of got them to the end,
Sure.
but none of those advantages really serves them when you're talking about the public voting, right? That I think
Right.
that's a fair thing to say. Also, like the public doesn't care; they don't know Tay or Ari intimately enough to say I prefer one sister over the other, and that isn't really what the edit gave me because I didn't.
Yeah.
I like them both, but like
Oh yeah, no, I love them both. And you know what sucks? That they had to split the money, so they each only get 50 grand.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well, that's what you get for some of the advantages that you did have. So you did play a
Listen,
half game. Played a half game.
Listen, yeah, I would take 50 grand in a heartbeat right now. So
I would take
Right.
$50.
Yes, exactly. I'd be fine with that. I think it also would be interesting if they did not play as one. Based on what I saw, I think you may have seen a different thing. I think that Ari would have been out sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the recoupling from Jake to TJ would have been something to make her a target.
Mm.
Because again, you look for any little reason to say, "Oh, this person
Yeah.
over me,"
I
and
do
it's like,
also think though, and we kind of touched on this with them yesterday too. I think Ari was kind of thinking a little more strategically than Tay was, though, because you saw, like, there was that whole thing with like Josh, and Tay didn't even consider, like, would this potentially put me in a bad spot if I like lash out at him right now? She was like, no, I got a problem with you. You pissed me off. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna make a big thing about it. I have to say it right now. And Ari was the one being like, shut up. Like, we need him as a number for us. So I don't know, because yeah, maybe that would have like ruffled some feathers socially, but I do also think that she was more strategic in the way that she was navigating through things than Tay.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think it's also important to note that Tay had that little blow up with somebody that she was in a romantic relationship with. So some of that stuff kind of like trumps that a little bit, I think.
Sure.
Because like it is really because of Tay that they were as insulated as they were. Because up until Moné's return from the half house, it really was that group of men that were kind of like pulling a lot of the strings here. And it was because Tay was so in with Josh that like Ari was not even like a thought.
Yeah.
But like I could see a reason to be like, you know what? Like she just broke up with Jake. She's now coupled with this intruder. Do we really want two sisters going to the end? I think Ari gets a chop.
Yeah.
A little bit
Yeah,
earlier.
no, I think you're right. I feel like if Ari and Tay aren't in that relationship with Josh, like we saw how much heat Gracie May got for that whole Jake vote, right? And we've talked about it, how it's just, Ari was the one that dumped Jake, and then the sisters nominated him, and that's what sent him out. And it's like, if Tay is not in a relationship with Josh, like I could see the target being turned on them pretty quickly. Because if all the guys are that upset about Jake being evicted, why wouldn't you go to the person that broke up with him and then nominated him immediately after that? And the only reason that you don't do that is because Tay and Josh are together. So
they're off limit. They don't even cross your mind. Not even a consideration. Right. Which is why people should not have like booed the House of Love thing before they really gave it a shot. Because like it is because we had that theme and people came in as these sexy singles that we had this coupling in the first place. It added a whole different layer when you're not looking at a showmance as something that has to go out immediately and it's everyone just doing that. The relationships I think are so much more interesting. Even when you go looking at the Louis and Monet relationship, even though it had ended, there was an understanding there that I have a level of trust with you that is a little bit different than I'm going to have with anybody else. So I may not want to be with you, but I'm going to play this game with you because this is what's best for both of us. I think that's really interesting. I don't want to see it every season, but I think it was fun for this one. So everybody point your attention to BB9 in America, Till Death Do Us Part, because that had a similar theme going on, the love theme. Come to find out that actually aired in February. Did you know that? It was like a February season. Yeah, like, and that's why it had that theme, was like
Valentine's Day.
Yes, exactly.
I wish they would do more stuff like that with our show. Like, do 2 seasons a year.
Yeah,
not even every year.
Find out.
Like, just do it. Just do it.
Right. Let the winter one be like the mixed bag of crap. Like, let the summer one be the one that we really we're back to basics now. We're playing our game. But in February, there's a crazy theme. I don't need celebrity. Just give me a crazy theme. I don't care.
Right. I feel like the summer is like the main
duo season or something,
right. Like, I feel like the summer season for us is like the main stage season, and they're always trying to do some like crazy twists, and half the time, well, not probably 90% of the time, they flop these twists, and it's like, why don't you have like a crazy winter season where you can kind of test some of these things out, these like crap. these wacky ideas that you have, and then the ones that do well, put them in the main stage show. You know what I mean?
Right. Or the ones that were like, you know what? That sucked, but if we change this one thing, it can work. Right. That could be your test season. We'll watch them both. I promise.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We'll watch. Yeah. Come on. We'll clip this. And by we, I mean Gina. And
you're volunteering me.
EBS, tag Julie Chen Moonves. Everybody. People need to know. You heard it here first on Strat Chat.
And then we'll convince them to hire us as some kind of creative executives that come up with ideas.
I don't even want that much clout. You know what I want? I want to host a veto and put me up there like Jerry O'Connell. Let me sit on stage and give my opinions, okay? Because I know the game better than he does. I want to host the veto so bad. Put me in a chicken suit and like, all right, so first you'll be clucking over there and then clucking to and fro. Like, I just want to be an idiot for like one episode. Just one.
Oh, wow.
You guys are crazy.
You said it.
Who do we have left? We discussed everyone, right? I guess that's it. Tay and Ari. Our winners, Savage Sisters. Savage Sisters. Gosh, a soft first. Now that. What's wrong with me? Well, it's late. It's been a long day.
It has.
Yeah, don't judge me.
It's getting to the end of the week, It's been a lot.
It has been a lot. I worked
seriously though.
7:00 today. I was really busy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Busy body.
I was. Type.
No, yeah, this was a really fun season, though. Seriously, I even if I was saying before deserved, whether or not they deserved it, they did a great job. I do, congratulations to them, and it was fun to watch them.
No, of course, no, it wasn't.
It was, yeah.
That's what we do here. We do a deep dive into each game. We didn't do anything wrong.
I know. No, I do because I feel like I don't, I still stand by what I said before. But I do think that they're solid winners of the season. They they were a big part of the season. Tay and Josh being like the OG couple, Ari, going from Jake to TJ, like they were, they did a lot this season. So to see them standing there at the end and winning was good. I thought
it's awesome. I guess that's it. I don't really want to say goodbye to Big Brother Australia. This ended up being so much more fun than I thought it was going to be.
I mean, hopefully we still get some chances to talk about it a little more.
Yeah, we need to reach out to Louis. I want to do a redo with Josh. And I honestly, I want to talk to Monet also. Her arc was really, really impressive. She went from somebody that I was like very, very much endeared towards to one that I was not, to one that I was again. Is that not the perfect Big Brother story? That's wonderful. I honestly, I would love to talk to her too. So we're putting our feelers out there, see if we can get them on the pod. Yeah. But that's that. I mean, I do want to thank, if anyone's actually watching, listening, paying any kind of attention, thank you to Channel 7 and our friend Jonathan for making all of this happen. This has been an absolute blast. Never imagined that we actually get to talk to these people that we're watching day after day, week after week. So like really, really awesome. Yeah. Another very, very memorable trip down under.
It's been really, really great. Yeah.
It has. What do we have coming up? You all know we love Big Brother. So obviously we're doing Big Brother Reindeer Games. And we're teaming up with another podcast, who all going to be there. You have seen them on our channel before because we had a couple of chats with them over the summer. So we'll be covering Reindeer Games together. And we're doing a Pod v Pod Battle Royale drafting teams on Saturday. So join us for that. All of our Aussie friends, get your VPNs in order because Big Brother Reindeer Games is going to be fun. It's only 2 weeks, not a major commitment. Bring in the Christmas time correctly. Jingle.
Gotta see,
Jangle.
You gotta see who gets Santa's blessing.
Right. We have 9 Big Brother US legends competing for Santa's blessing. And $100,000, but mainly Santa's blessing.
Santa's blessing.
Yes, the Big Brother US house is decked out in Christmas decor. Did you see that? Did you see? I think Entertainment Weekly shared pictures.
Oh, I haven't seen the house. No.
Yeah, every room is like Santa's little kitchen. Santa's it's not a lair. I'm sure they didn't say lair.
Santa's lair.
But like the HOH room is like Santa's hideout or something like that. It's like, but I don't know what the word is. It was a fun word.
It's Santa's lair. Santa's lair.
If it isn't, it is now.
Santa's lair.
Yes. So like, yeah, I'm really, really jazzed about it. I don't really know how they're going to set that up because if they're not living in the house, then like, what is the point of doing the house up? Unless
everyone shows up
for a few days. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't wait to see what this looks like.
Everyone shows up at 9 a.m. They do their competitions. They have some cookies and candy canes and hot chocolate.
And they clock out.
And they clock out at 5. Yeah.
It's so silly. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Listen, anything Christmas, I'm down for. So you mix Christmas and Big Brother. I mean, those are literally my 2 favorite things.
Yeah.
These are a few of my favorite things.
No.
So I'm super jazzed.
I'm looking forward to Reindeer Games. I actually will say that I think I'm looking forward to it more now than I was when it was first announced too, because I felt like I was sort of burnt out by Big Brother 25 and its 100-day season, and just kind of feeling like.
Yeah. I know.
Kind of feeling like bummed about how the season ended after it was such a great first half of the season and then ended up being like not so great in the second half. And I feel like I was kind of over it. And now that I've had a little time to breathe, I think I'm very excited for the Reindeer Games and Santa's blessing.
Yes,
of course, Santa's blessing.
You're smelling the pine. The tea with cinnamon is on the stove. It's warming. And we're ready to settle in for our Christmas season. I'm so excited. #BBRJ. So that's happening on Saturday at midnight Eastern. I don't know what that is for our Aussie friends. All right. So Google time converter. And you figure it out on your own. And that's that. That'll be debuting on Monday, December 11th, on the CBS. And we'll be live probably about an hour or so after that, giving our thoughts. And we'll be with our friends, our besties on Thursday. And that's that.
I have
Anything
one
else?
other thing.
What?
Yeah, one other thing. No, just because I was going to say, we love our Australian friends, and we loved covering Big Brother Australia. But if they're wondering, and we want them to watch all of the other shows that we're talking about, even the ones in the US, but if they're wondering when we might be coming down under once again to cover another Australian show, we know that Australian Survivor will be coming up, and we'll definitely be watching that and chatting about that. So
yes, Australian Survivor debuts at the end of January. We don't want to be a spoiler account telling you when it actually comes out. We do have the date. Just know it's the end of January. So schedule your lives accordingly. And we will be covering that again as a main stage show. All right, Australian Survivor gets main stage. Which means sometimes we do like 2 streams a week on that sucker, because it's better than ours. So yes, we will be back down under soon. You can continue to follow us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod to find out exactly when.
Yeah.
Is that our final thing? We're leaving Australia now? All right. Well, listen, it's been very fun. Thank you all for hanging out with us this season. It's been a good time. Definitely follow us on the socials in case we do get to do a redo conversation with Josh, our conversation with Louie, and a conversation with Monet. We are still actively pursuing this. And that's it. I think we're done. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now. All right.